We need to do it again. People are going to be like, why did Chef Giuseppe lose all this weight?
Yeah.
All right. So we're sitting here with Amaru Jones. You are doing a bunch of shit. You're doing so much stuff. But to give the highlights, you're the president of Leaders of the New School, which is a nonprofit organization. And you're also running for Huntington School Board this May.
Yes.
And so we met maybe a few months ago at this point now. So I guess just give the people a little background on yourself, who you are, and why you're taking on these crazy things to do. Like, you're doing so much in the community. Why are you doing that?
Yeah, so like growing up, my mom had a nonprofit organization herself called Sisters on a Mission, right in North Carolina, originally where I grew up, to about the age of 12. And I think not even intentionally, I was just picking up things from her and seeing all of the nuances that she did, seeing the community galvanize with her in Fayetteville, North Carolina, where I originally grew up, and just seeing how individuals gravitated towards her. And it kind of put an imprint on me, or pretty much, I guess, instilled in me that I want to do something with the youth, instilled in me that I want to actually make a change for the people that come after me. So I know I came right from the rural area, bad area of North Carolina, like I said. And I think just me seeing her and seeing all the people around me pretty much just pushed me in the right direction to try to put together a nonprofit organization with my friends and pretty much just put those dreams together of me running the school board.
So what's the mission with the nonprofit, with Leaders of the New School specifically?
Yeah, so we really want to create equity. Socially, politically, and economically. We want to give resources back to the youth that we never had. So growing up, like I said, I had a lot of mentors that played a huge role in my life, and they pretty much pushed me in the right direction to do a lot of things that I currently do today. And I think without them, I don't know where I could be, because I see a lot of the individuals around me that didn't have those mentors, and they weren't so lucky. And I kind of look at myself in the mirror that I owe it to the next generation to kind of change that for them. And every day I kind of just put that in the back of my head to try to make sure that win, lose, or draw, that people could look at me and say, I can do it. And I just want to really just put that to all the kids after me, that whatever you do it, put the outside noise out, and just let's just grind a little bit, and let's just try to put together a plan to succeed.
Yeah, I mean, that's an incredible mission of what you're trying to do here. And we were talking a little bit before we started about the project that you got off the ground last year that's going to potentially come to fruition this June. Do you want to tell us, how you got started with that, why you wanted to start that project, start fundraising and mobilizing the community, and how did it all happen?
So the revitalization of Al Walker Park was a big project for us in total. So like I said, growing up, when I eventually moved to Huntington, there weren't a lot of places I could go. My mom was very old school, very strict, be home before the street lights come on type things. And when I moved here, there was a lot of things that were happening in the community anyway that my mom didn't want me to be involved in. So the only places I could go to were parks such as Jack Abrams Park right on Lowndes Avenue, and West 11th Street Park, where a lot of my cousins and a lot of the older kids in the neighborhood went to play basketball. But as you see, I guess, looking after you start doing history for like the past 20 to 25 years, it was pretty much not given the resources that it needed to succeed or make sure that the next generation of kids had a safe place to play. So my best friends and I were like, let's just go after this idea, and let's try to put together a plan to try to get resources back into the community, specifically with this park. So one day, I'm sitting in my house. My vice president comes in the house. He was like, I have a plan. And I'm like, all right, what's the plan? He's like, let's put together a social media marketing campaign. And I'm like, all right, what exactly does that mean? And he was like, all right, so let's just try to put together a plan with businesses that are in the area to take a picture of their business, highlight their business, what it brings to the Huntington community, and in exchange, they want to support our park in the long run. And I was like, okay, that sounds cool. I was like, but how can we spread the message quicker? And then I instantly thought that there were a lot of pages such as Huntington Matters, Huntington Station Matters, Huntington Township pages all throughout Facebook that we could post these pictures on to show these businesses that everybody goes to, from Johnny D's to Rose's Pizzeria, Doe and Co., Eight Well, 1653, all these businesses that people go to show them that they support us and they support the idea of trying to make the next generation better and making sure that they are accommodated for their time being in the neighborhood. And we just got up that same day, went all throughout all the businesses, and it was about 2 or 3 hours of a day. And then I was like, all right, Monday at 6 p.m., I'm going to post the first picture. The first picture, it did okay. It was probably like 40 likes, 30 likes. And I'm like, all right, let's do it again. Tuesday, 6 o'clock. So like 80 likes.
Nice.
More comments. More people were like, oh, I like what you're doing in the community. The next day, positive comments, negative comments, a lot more likes. A lot of people coming up to us saying that they like the message. And after a while, we see that it's starting to pretty much build the community together. And a lot of people don't know that we were also having meetings with the individuals that are in the government as well to try to get this part going. And I think once they saw like all of those things playing a huge part between the community galvanizing, and they see these private meetings that my vice president, my treasurer, and I are having, it kind of shows like this full circle. Like, no, people actually need this. Like, need this new park to get built. So let's do it. And long story short, the entire town board agreed that this park should get fixed up, and it was allocated $1.2 million.
Wow.
That's
incredible.
Yeah, it's how many businesses did you guys get on board to support the project in those 2-3 hours, and then I guess over the course of the next however long?
So we did it for like 7 or 8 days because I also didn't want to like oversaturate it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was like,
you get different people too if you're going door to door.
Was it like give them this exposure with asking nothing in return, or was you asking for the businesses to do something specific? Kind of how did you go about this? Like, did you just give them this free exposure and hopefully they would post you guys and share the message about the park? Just a little bit of background.
So we pretty much just wanted to give them like free PR.
Okay.
So we were like, we'll post you guys on our Instagram page, and let's just see what happens. And actually, which was very cool, and I guess the long-term game, I guess when you're just doing stuff for the world, like just things just happen, that one of the writers for Newsday saw 8 Well. And they were like, oh, and I know I have a very good relationship with her because of past things that have happened and, just write-ups and things. And she was like, oh, what's that business, 8 Well? And I'm like, oh, this is that. And they had a meeting with her. Then they were on in the newspaper. And then we start seeing like Doe and Co. We see a lot of these businesses like off of these pictures and these posts. Plus, they have good food as well. But they see like, oh, it's actually bubbling in this community. This is like a vibrant energy that's going on between gyms and food places and all types of businesses. And I think that's what we didn't even see it that far. We just wanted to get a park done. But I guess there was a bigger message that when we use each other and we use our resources that we are closely connected, we don't know who's watching. And that played a big part in that.
I think it's something Steve talks about all the time. It's like the more you can delay the ask, right, for something, the more you can just give, then you get so much more back in return. You were just doing this to try to make people know about the park, right?
Yes.
And all of a sudden now it's got all these spider webs and all this crackles going in different areas, and you're having these meetings behind doors, but people don't know that when you're talking to those businesses. You're like, let me just promote you, and you just promote us, and boom, all of a sudden 1.2 million, then they got a park getting gotten down now, right?
Absolutely.
Like, that's insane.
Sure.
So where is the park? What's the
address?
Right West 11th Street Park is right next to St. Hugh's Church, right down the street from me. That's where I live. And that park has been there forever. Like, I've heard stories from my grandparents of going to the park. I've heard stories of uncles, lost loved ones that have went to the park and played basketball there. And you see this history of just people that all come from the same place, all went to this park. And it showed that this park actually meant something to people at one point. and it kind of lost its reasoning for it to even be there. And I really want with this park, with it being built, to put that back in the image of having those stories when these kids get older. Like I remember when that park first got built, and we're playing basketball, or we're playing soccer on the field, or we're working out there. And it also creates value to our neighborhood, and it creates value to the entire township, because now people want to flock to Huntington because of these new areas that are being built. So it's like a longer vision that people have to understand, that it's not just for right now. These are for years to come, for our next generations and our family members to be a part of.
Well, think about it. Like the more people that come to those parks, the more people that are out of their house, they'll probably stop and grab a sandwich down the block. It's all synonymous.
There's a bodega or a deli around the corner. Like they're going to go
sure.
there. It's going to bring, you're revitalizing not just the park, but the community that surrounds it.
I don't even know if you realize how much you're doing. You probably do, but for all these businesses in themselves, like how much business that you might actually bring in because of all these people that are actually going to the park now, and it's beautiful, and it's like it becomes this place of bringing the community together, and that's exciting to me. I'm all about community, so I think that's super cool.
Yeah, and even from like you mentioned, kids are going to talk about, I remember when the park was built and all that.
Yeah.
Like, my childhood moment was like the street around the corner from me got paved when I was like 8 years old. And it was like, oh, great, we're going to go play on that street now. And like, that when you find that new exciting thing, like that gets people excited.
Yeah, they're going to play that first game on the turf or play that first game on the new court, whatever it might be. I still remember that too.
And it's unique that the park is actually a borderline between South Huntington and Huntington School District, like literally the borderline.
Oh, wow.
So like kids, that's how we meet a lot of kids from the other side of town, because that park is literally the middle ground. So we have basketball game, pickup games, trash talk each other a little bit about the kids from the other side of town, or vice versa. But we start to build relationships like that. And I see a lot of kids, not right now, a lot of kids like to stay in the house and all those things. And let's give them a reason to go out, because if we don't give them a reason, they're going to keep doing what they're doing. And we have to just make sure that it doesn't happen.
That's an interesting point. I never thought of it like that. Because like when you are, I'm trying to get back in the mindset of like a 10-year-old kid, right? Like I could ride my bike how far was I allowed to go before my mom was like, no, you can't go there.
For sure.
And it was like it wasn't very far. It was like, I had my friends that lived on the block, my friends that lived around the corner. Yeah. And it was like, if I want to go to Nick's house, I got to call him and be like, hey, can I come over? And then my mom would bring me there.
Yeah. For sure.
And that's only like less than a mile away.
For sure.
But having that, but you're stuck in that ecosystem, right? Of like, this is your school, these are your people, these are the people that you see every day. When you have that like crossing of communities, you understand that there's more out there. And maybe that's something that I missed as a kid, because like I could only go to the park around the corner, and it wasn't on the border of another town.
For sure.
But when kids came from another school, or they came from another place, we'd play basketball with them, or we'd play hockey in the street, and it was like, I don't know, it was a different experience, and it kind of maybe makes you grow up a little bit.
For sure. And it builds connections.
Yeah.
Because like I said, the kids that we used to play against, some of them are in my nonprofit organization.
That's crazy, right?
Like there's like no over exaggeration. Like
you played basketball against them when you were 6, and then you reignited that rivalry in high school when you were in different schools.
For sure. And I was also went to school in South Huntington.
Okay.
6th and 7th grade a little bit. So I knew a couple of kids already, but when I moved to Huntington, that's when like we start playing each other in basketball. We start building those relationships. We start knowing each other. Some even play the same AAU teams and things of that nature. And I think that's what kids need. Like we have to start giving kids reasons to do stuff. If we don't have a park that's built in our neighborhood, of course they're going to sit in the house, because I know I would. Like there's nothing to do outside. So let's give them these opportunities, and let's say now you have a reason to go outside, and let's just push them into the right direction.
It's fantastic.
So how does this tie in with the next thing, which is you running for school board?
Yeah. I'm really interested in that.
Well, I personally, I also want to, like, I guess say that I do that just off the love of just me being in that neighborhood. Like I've grown up there my entire life, and I see these parks and stuff that are not being fixed and things of that nature. So that's always within me. I was like, I guess it ties well because I want to make sure that the next generation is developed the right way, and pretty much just trying to educate the whole child. And when I say educate the whole child, that means we got to make sure that children can reach the true epitome of themselves by making sure that they tap into the potential of whatever talent they have. So if you see a kid is developing musically, let's give them the resource to develop to the best musician possible. Or if you see a kid that's very more developed athletically, let's give them these resources. Let's push them to the right direction. You want to go to school and play college basketball? All right, cool. This is what you need to do. You need to go on this GPA. You need to do the homework. You need to do this. We have to develop the entire human being, because if you just start developing successful students, they're not really getting that true life approach when they get out of school, and they're pretty much lost. If you're developing successful human beings, now you see a person that is hardworking in whatever field he's doing. He's like, or he or she's doing. Let's actually like put together a plan to make sure that they are doing the right thing. And I guess that's a vision. I guess that ties into the court, because I want to make sure that we're developing our next generation to reach their true potential.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So the park, and then kind of that's how it kind of fell into being school board. Is that?
Oh, no.
Sorry.
No. So,
Are they tied? I just drew that conclusion.
yeah,
don't
so
even
did
know
I.
if
No.
these two things are.
I don't know if they're
no,
two separate
together.
entities.
yeah. No, they're two separate things. I was like, the Al Walker Park was something that was been brewing since 2020.
But did it give you like a good taste of like, all right, this is what it actually takes to galvanize a community. This is what it takes to
Shape
bring
frame
something.
it,
Did it give you the belief? Because you mentioned before, like you want people to believe that whatever they do, if they put all their energy towards it, and if they put their all into it, and they have good intentions, that they can make it happen.
Yes.
Was that like a little piece of proof that
For
in
sure.
your head was like, I can do this. I can.
There's
make it.
more I can
I can
do.
become. I can get on the school board. I can do the right thing.
Yes, for sure. It's that, as well as me. I used to also teach. I used to teach world history too, in Springfield Gardens. I love all those students deeply still, and just my experiences there, seeing children just developing in front of your eyes every day. And I also taught an accelerated curriculum. That it was 10th grade history to 6th graders, so world history too.
Wow.
So they would take the regions, like in this charter school,
sixth
like
graders?
6th graders.
Oh my God.
And which taught me, because I'm seeing 6th graders get 85s, 82s, 77s, and in their mind, a 77, they're like, oh my gosh. But I'm like, you're also taking a 10th grade Regents.
Yeah,
right now.
you're 4 years younger than everyone else who's taking this exam.
For sure. And it shows me that a kid doesn't know what a kid doesn't know. So if you show a kid at an early age that you can do this, they can actually do it. That was complete proof that all I needed to do. So I was like, all right, let's try to bring this back to my neighborhood of let's start developing these individuals at an early age, and let's start putting them in the right situations to become successful. And just by that proof of seeing these kids get these 80s, 90s, and a whole bunch of great things that they were doing, from arts, music, athletics, I wanted to bring it to my own community and want to show them that whatever field they're in, let's give them the tools to succeed in life.
So we've had a few long discussions
Sure.
prior to this podcast, and I've picked your brain about a lot of different things. Because I just moved to Huntington Station. I'm new in this community, so like, I learned a lot from just speaking to you. What are some things that maybe people that live in the community don't understand or don't know about the Huntington School District? And maybe what are some things that you're kind of want to improve?
I guess some of the things that I wanted to improve, we're also making strides in. That's first and foremost. I was like, our superintendent is actually retired this year, but he also has a really good relationship with my brother and I. But they're making strides in the right direction with a lot of things, such as giving kids more tools to succeed in other areas, from robotics clubs and all of these things. But I want to continue that. I want to make sure that if the kid is great at vocational schooling and very good with his hands, carpenter, anything like that, okay, let's develop them into that right direction. And I think there's a ton of people in the Huntington Station School District, well, not the Huntington Station School District, the Huntington School District, that can benefit from that. And it doesn't have to do anything with like race, gender, anything like that. I just want to make sure that that individual, because I see them as a person, however they feel about themselves or anything like that, they're developing into their true potential, and show them that you have to put your all in life to be successful. Because if you don't, you're just going to sell yourself short, and then you're going to one day look in the mirror and be like, I wish I would have worked harder when I was in my younger years. And I don't think any person deserves that, because you don't want that day to happen when you're older and you can't do that.
Yeah.
I think this is, at a young age, we want to make sure that we're just pushing our best foot forward, and let's put together a plan to become successful in our life in general.
Are there some specific things you see now in Huntington School District that you're like that question marks you, that drove you to kind of this decision to run for this position? Or, what kind of is driving force behind some of the things maybe that are happening now that you see, if we make this little adjustment from what I've done, we can make a big difference?
Yes. So growing up, I was on my varsity football team since I was a 10th grader. And I had these two great individuals that were on my team, very athletically gifted individuals. And I'm sure they could have went to a ton of schools in the country, but their grades couldn't get them there. And I think it's just doing a disservice to them, because all of us are not going to go to the NFL, granted.
Yeah.
I understand. But they have the potential to make the next step for themselves, and make sure that they are becoming the best version of themselves, because you never know what talent they may pick up in college. And they have a ton of schools that are looking at them, and they can't do it because they didn't get the right GPA, or it's too low, or they didn't make enough days in school, thing like that. And I've seen that's just maybe like one story, but I've seen a ton of people from my neighborhood, from my area, that has happened to. And it just really bothers me, like, truly, that I'm seeing individuals that I grow up with, play basketball with, work out with, better than me at certain sports, and they can't show the world that they are, or they can't make connections at the next level. Because I went to school and played football as well, and I literally played against certain people, and I'm like, I play with dudes that are like a lot better than you, but they will never show it. And I just want to make sure that kids never experience that feeling, because that feeling is probably some of the worst ones, because we will have consistent conversations, and I used to tell them, like, you can play up here where I'm playing, or anything like that. And I just don't want that to happen. And that could go for athletics, that could go for arts, that could go for just getting accepted into college. I don't want to make education is a tool that you need. It's not the end all be all, but it's a tool to make sure that your family is successful, and make sure that everyone around you is successful. Because education is in multiple forms, and enlightenment, and is as well as just traditional. But when it's an enlightenment, it could really put a spark into your life, and it could pretty much put light on everyone around you if you use it the right way. And you could make sure that you start this generations of passing that education on to the people after you. And I think that's what I truly want to push into the Huntington School District, because I want to make sure that these kids never experience or ever see the stories that I've seen about just education. And yeah, I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like just everything you're doing does come back to that one central mission of, you want to leave this town a better place than it was when you came here. You want to set that next generation of young people in the right direction. And you want to make sure that they're given the right resources. Does that come from the fact that you didn't have a lot of that? Does it come from the fact that you weren't given a lot of the resources that are available, that maybe we don't know about, or that were there that you didn't know about? Because when you're bringing these things up, and in other conversations that we've had, you've brought up resources that I didn't even know existed. You brought up BOCES to me, which I know existed, but there's like a stigma to it.
For sure.
Can you talk a little bit on that?
Yes. The stigma, I think a lot of people just going to high school, even to this day, that we used to see kids go to BOCES, and it used to be looked down as less than, or you would like
not cool.
Cool, and you leave in class,
Or less intelligent.
Yeah. And just calling it what it is. A lot of people think that, but there's so many programs that goes through that school, from hairstylists, nursing, just regular vocational with hands, like anything that could just make you overall a better person, or a better successful person, to make sure that your family after you is paid and make sure that you are starting these generations of wealth that I want to create through this facet of education. And I think the stigma used to just always kind of be like this very bad and people just look at it as less than. And I want to change that a little bit. I want to show them that you can go to the school as well as get your traditional education, become successful. And hey, what if you're a person that's good at both? Now you're ahead of the curve. Now you can show people that I took this route. You don't have to be like everyone else, but I took this route. Let's try to put together a plan to make you successful.
Our last guest, who his episode may or may not come out before or after yours, I don't know what order we're putting them out, but he didn't go the traditional route. He started working and created a business when he was 19 years old. Sure. And he just happened to continue doing it. Now he's like 25 or 26, and he's still doing it to this day. If someone had presented that option to me, or given me the push that I needed when I was younger, I may have gone a different direction than I went, which was spending a lot of money on college that I didn't need to spend. Sure. And doing all these things. And I think if people are aware of all the resources that are available in the town or the school district that they go to, you can help them make better decisions or make the best decision.
Yeah, like both of my parents, my dad didn't go to college, but he loves BOCES. He's a trade. He could do anything. He can, wire this entire place, just from everything he's kind of learned from just doing it. And so like, I get what you're saying. You don't want school to almost be a barrier for you to be successful in a sense. So like your friends that were really athletic, but they missed maybe too many classes or they did something, you want to kind of influence these people to make the right decisions if based on the goals they want to achieve. And maybe the goal is college, or maybe the goal is starting your own business at 19. But right now they're not getting that from the people that are currently there, or it's not portrayed in the right facet. If that makes sense.
If you had asked me at 19 if it was even possible for me to start a business, I would have said no.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known what to do. And this guy's been doing it since he was 19.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me that he had the clarity and the ability to go that route. You mentioned before that like you want to educate the whole child. You want to create hardworking and just good individuals. Yeah. That immediately brought a flashback to my mind where it was like, I didn't work hard in school, in like middle school and high school. Yeah. Like I was smart enough to just get by, and do well enough that I, was able to go to college. But then when I got to college, I got my ass handed to me because I didn't work hard. I didn't know how to study. I didn't know how to do homework. I just coasted. And then I got to that point, it was like life smacked me in the face and said, you're not supposed to do this. But there's people that I can think of, like this kid, Phil, who we took the same course in high school. We took a chemistry class together, and like he was always middle of the pack, or maybe a little bit above middle of the pack when it came to grades. And I always had better grades, but he worked so hard. And I remember at that time, the teacher of the class was like, I don't have to worry about Phil. Like Phil is going to do well in whatever he does because he works hard. He's maybe in terms of raw ability, like you're saying with these football players that you played with, they didn't have it. He didn't have all the raw ability, but he had the understanding of if I work hard, I can do anything that I want to do. And I'm sure I don't even know what he's doing now, but I'm sure he's successful. I'm sure he's doing just fine for himself.
For sure. There's a ton of people that I know went to college and it just wasn't cut out for them, which is okay. It's okay. Yeah. I'm a big proponent myself that at least try it. Like, just try college, because that's just how I was raised. I was like, I would maybe the first graduate on my father's side from college. So I always say, like, at least try it. Give it a semester, because you'll know very quick. You like, all right, I'm not supposed to be here.
I knew, but I stuck it out anyway because I was an idiot.
Yeah. But I just want to make sure that we just give that option. Like, let's build you up from scratch, and let's just put your all into it, and just make sure that you have the right resources around you.
Yeah. Availability, the whole thing.
Yes, because that plays a huge role, because there's a lot of people around me that didn't have those resources that would have loved to go to college, but they just couldn't. It just they couldn't see themselves going to college, which I think it's a big burden to put on a 18-year-old or a 17-year-old at the time, that they just can't see themselves finishing something that can actually change the trajectory of your life. Even by statistically, it shows you will get more money if you go to college or anything like that. So that's why I always say, like, at least try it, or at least give you that option to do that. And if not, that's why the vocational school is also something that we have to push on you a little bit. But we want to make sure that you're successful.
I mean, the kids who did wood shop and car
Sure.
shop classes they were making money right out of high school, doing those vocational trades.
For sure. You see it all across Long Island now. You see young women that's graduating from high school, going right to become mechanics, making great money. You see barbershops getting put inside of high schools, and kids are literally learning how to cut hair, which is also bringing up the graduation rate, which also keeping kids in school, which is it's like a big trickle down effect. Plus the school gets more money because there's more graduates, and that the community is actually involved in school. It's a bigger picture when you start doing stuff just for the good of it. And I'm always a person that I just like to give people a feeling, like a good feeling.
I saw it in your eyes,
Yeah.
right there. When you were talking about that trickle down effect, you lit up.
Yeah.
Like, everything that you were talking about, it was like just pure passion. You could really tell.
For sure. Like I'm just, it really like keeps me, like motivates me when I see kids outside my apartment building shooting basketballs, and they care about the moment so much, and they're just developing in front of you. And I was like, I love to really kind of push that. Let's put focus on that development of those children.
So this for you is the way to be able to impact the most people, and put, you love, as a teacher, you can do it with 25 people in a class or 30 people in a class.
Sure.
As a school board member, you can affect the district, thousands of kids, thousands of people's lives every single year, because there's more and more coming in.
For sure.
So I'm going to ask you a tough question now.
Okay.
You may or may not have the answer.
I got you back.
If someone is watching this who lives in the town of Huntington and is able to vote on, May 16th, May 15th?
May 16th. It's a Tuesday. I believe it's the third Tuesday of that month. Because I was like, sometimes it switches up, because I was also looking at the date because of how excited I was but it's for sure the Tuesday of that day, May 16th.
So if they live in the town of Huntington,
Yes.
or they know someone who lives in the town of Huntington, and they are going to go vote in the school board election, why should they vote for you?
I think a person should vote for me because I'm a product of Huntington. And I say that because I was in honors choir. I'm first to say that, honors choir. I was the captain of the football team, captain of the track team. Did well in school, but I also really wanted to create the essence of my community. So I did whatever I felt like I wanted to do. And you see that in a lot of kids, that they're kind of scared to branch out and do the unpopular thing and not follow trends. It's kind of hard. And I'm a person that I lay my hat on that I will always be different. I want to make sure that a person's child is comfortable, make sure that a person's child is successful after they leave high school, middle school, elementary, whatever. And they just keep on leveling up until reach their true epitome of themselves, and pretty much just kind of making sure that the community is galvanized with me. Because I think this vision of educating the whole child is not just a vision for right now, it's a vision for later. And they could keep this message even when I'm long and gone. I could be gone away from here and leave the district for 20 years from now, but that message of educating the whole child. And we literally are in Huntington a product of a person that starts small businesses, that starts all of these things, and they literally lay their hat on pretty much why Huntington is successful, is because of a person that is educated, not in the traditional approach, but they wanted to try that new thing. And I'm a person that I believe that I will be the perfect example of that. And I want to make sure that me preaching this educating the whole child is implemented on every child that's in the school district.
Damn. That was good.
That was very good.
Yeah.
I sure hope so.
It gets better. It gets better every time I talk to you. You can tell that the vision and the way you speak about it, it's finding a more singular focus. Like
Yeah.
you're getting tighter with it every single time.
Yeah, and I think you're
I
like
can
a-
only imagine how long. Like
He's like a living embodiment of what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
Like you are like the blueprint for what you want someone to be, right? Like your journey, your
Yes.
journey. Like you want the
you're
journey.
not necessarily following your exact
Yeah.
path.
Yeah.
But to be able to take advantage of the resources that were provided.
Yeah, I just want a person that comes after me to look at me, take bits and pieces, see what I did wrong, see what I did right, and they could become better.
Right.
And I think that's what life is all about. That you ever like you be around family, your mother, your father, and you see, okay, what not to do,
Yeah.
what to do. If I do this, this will happen, and it makes you better. So
Yeah.
that when you have little cousins or you have children yourself, you're like, well, if my mom did that or my father did that, and it's the same thing. And I think that's just how life is. That you take what you need, and you don't take what you need, and you just keep on progressing forward. And I just want people to look at my story and look at my background and look at the people that I've had encounters with, and they see the pros and cons, and they make the best decision for themselves because a person most likely will.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so funny because I am the oldest of 3 kids. Me and my youngest sister are like the same person. We're the same. Like we do the same thing. We're the same mannerisms. Like she's a better version of me because she's 4 years younger and she got to watch all the mistakes that I made and not make those mistakes.
For sure.
And like that's kind of what you're trying to embody for an entire district or for an entire organization.
Absolutely. I'll always look at it like this. My best friend, I was like, it was 3 brothers. They all played football. The oldest one was good at football. The second one was better than him. And the third one went all state.
Yeah.
And he literally learned from his older brothers of what to do and what not to do. And I said that same approach is going back to your story. It's literally just a life effect. And I think we kind of underestimate what children or the youth, how smart they are. Because first of all, kids watch everything. Like if someone says they're not, they're lying to you.
Yeah,
They see everything that you think they're not. They see how you dress. They see what the things that you like they may like because you like them, because they see you as that figure in their life. And I think we just have to make sure that we're being the best form of ourselves so that they can see that and they can say, oh, I don't want to do that, but I respect them enough because they did what they're supposed to do. For sure. And I think kids,
I love it.
I think the thing is like school boards generally don't feel very approachable.
yeah,
I feel like from your perspective, we just met today. I feel like you want to be more of the approachable part of it. Like people could actually come to you. Like my school board, they just showed up once a month or whatever and I didn't really know them or I didn't really know their story. I feel like you're taking a very different perspective, and I hope the community of Huntington sees that, where it's approach me, ask me questions. I made these mistakes.
sure.
Let's make this better for all the kids because the mistakes I made, and I'm a product of this system that was in place now or before, right?
Sure.
So I think approachability and the way you approach it, especially with everything he's got going on, between the park project that you worked on, between supporting the businesses at the beginning that you were
We
talking
didn't even
about.
really dive into the nonprofit that much, but they're doing scholarships,
Right.
events. Like you guys
So
are really in the community.
I feel like, you actually give a shit about the kids, and sometimes with school boards, I don't know if that's always the case or if it's a status thing. I don't know. But
I'm sure in some cases it is, and other cases it isn't.
right.
yeah,
this feels more genuine and approachable, and that's what I'm trying to get at.
Absolutely. I want to be that person that can bridge the gap between community and school.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I'm a product of it. I didn't graduate that too long ago. I'm not an old person or anything like that. I graduated 2016, and I just want to show people that you can come and ask about anything.
Yeah.
And I guess in just the school district, there's always like battles going on. I guess in any form of government, any hierarchy of some type
Any
of power
organization.
structure.
Yeah.
Any
Yeah,
organization.
it's going to be that bickering back and forth, but we also have to make sure that the end goal is to make sure the kids are the biggest point.
100%.
It's not just to win.
Yeah.
That's what's happening a lot is, I want to win instead of I want to create the best
Yeah.
environment for our children.
Yes, I want to create that.
I'm sold.
Yeah, I'm in. I mean, luckily I
can't-
live
I
in
can't
the
vote.
town of Huntington now.
I can't vote, but
So I can vote because that's the school district that I'm in.
Right.
So if anyone wants to get in touch with you, speak to you, have a conversation, learn a little bit more about your platform and what you stand for, how can they find you? And then how can they, give you their vote?
Yes, so a person can just email me at amarujones50@gmail.com. My social media is my name, Amaru Jones, AMARU. A lot of people kind of mess it up a little bit.
We'll pop it up on the screen. Don't worry.
But yeah, I was like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'm very outspoken with a lot of things that I truly believe in, especially with education policy and education. And if a person just really wants to contact me, they can also just see me in the street. Do not be afraid. Like, just come up to me and ask a question. I'm usually very on the spot with it, very welcoming with people that I don't know. And let's see how we can work together to try to make sure that we can get the best school district possible.
And May 16th, what time is the election? Where do people vote? How can they do it?
Yes, 6 a.m., 9 p.m.
So all day.
All day. Jack Abrams STEM Magnet School.
Where's that?
Right on Lowndes Avenue. So it's right in front of the apartments, the townhouses. I can't think of it. What's the name of townhouse? Maybe just townhouses.
Are you even from Huntington?
Yeah, right. Right. That's right in front of the townhouses. And from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., people could go there, vote. And they're also will be voting on the budget for this year, which is extremely important because as a person that lives in the Huntington School District, it's important to know where your tax dollars are going. And if you approve the budget, approve it. If you don't, say no. And I think a lot of people just don't have a lot of focus on school boards, but our money is something that we can vote on. And I think regardless of win, lose, or draw with me, I think everyone should get out and vote on that proposition and just see what they can do to make sure that everything is comfortable for their kids and the people after them.
I love it. Well, thank you for being
That's
here.
awesome.
Thanks for taking the time out of your day. I know you took a half day at work just to be here.
Yes.
We got you a gift because you came.
Oh, yeah.
This is my brand. My dad and I started, and we
yes.
sell clothing here on Long Island, right in Huntington at the Walt Women's Shops.
Yes.
So we got a hat for you.
Oh, for sure.
And then we got a nice little long sleeve for you as well.
Yes.
All right. So that's
Sure.
for you to take home, and we appreciate you coming on our podcast.
Absolutely,
That
yes.
was,
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
for
you.
And
man.
guess what? I hope you freaking win this shit.
Yeah, you're going to win it.
For real. Let's
You
go.
got it.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's for you.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.